Hey guys, working on this 60 F-250 302 swap. I have pretty much everything completely wired that needed to be wired in the cab. The next thing I'm going to do is turn the ignition on. I'm going to spin the oil pump with the drill. My wife will be in the cab with the camera and verify that oil pressure registers on the gauge. Once I've verified it builds oil pressure, I will pull this little shaft out and then I'll drop the distributor in, time it, put the wires on, put butt connectors on these two wires, and then it should be ready to run. I do need to still tighten the bolts on the Wi-Fi, but other than that, I don't know, of course I'll kind of double check and go over everything before I actually try to fire it, but I'll go ahead and run the drill and see if we build oil pressure. So the oil pressure is second farthest gauge.
Yep.
No. Nope.
Oh.
Brand new gauge is, there you go.
Gotcha. Not on the dash.
Not on the dash. It was originally just an idiot light on the dash. So. Right?
Yep. It's moving.
What did it go up to?
40?
Okay. Perfect. Alright, I've already done that before and made sure there were no leaks before I had the oil pressure sender hooked up. So I know there's no oil leaks. So like I said, I'll go ahead and pause the video and drop the distributor in, put the spark plug wires on, tighten the exhaust, and then I'll come back when I'm ready to fire it up. Alrighty guys, I'm back here working on this 60 F-250 302 swap. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to start this thing up today. I went to spin the motor over so I can line up the distributor, put it 360 off top dead center so I can just put the distributor to cylinder 1. And it was not budging at all. So of course thinking, oh no, you know, what the heck, what could it be, you know, what is the flywheel the wrong size for the bell housing, all kinds of things running through my head. I know there's nothing in the cylinders, but I pulled the spark plugs out just to be 100%, still stuck. And then I remembered the starter went in just fine, and it looked like everything lined up, and the teeth were going to engage correctly, I thought. But obviously this starter's out. It's a remanufactured starter, but it's a D2 Ford part number, so it'd be 72, and that bell housing's at 86. So obviously there's a interchange issue with that, because as soon as I pulled the starter out, the engine rolled over just like it always did. So obviously that gear sits too far forward in this application, so it was engaged with the flywheel the whole time. So since that starter motor was in there, it was just too much to turn the starter over and, you know, the motor itself. So really stinks I'm not getting started, but all things considered, pretty small hiccup. I'm glad it's not anything transmission related, bell housing related, you know. Holy cow, could have gone down a rabbit hole with that. So I did get the distributor in. I will finish wiring everything and get the wiring cleaned up in the cab and continue picking away at other little stuff. I'll do a little more research. I'm assuming if I just look up a 86 F-150 F-250 starter, it should be correct to work with everything. So maybe tomorrow I'll start it. I'm done making assumptions on when I'm going to start it. It's going to start when it starts. But yeah, just an update, another hiccup, kind of part of the deal when you're putting, you know, a motor in a truck that doesn't belong. And then, like I said, I wanted the ease of the 4-speed with the output shaft, and I wanted everything to work good. So obviously an 86 F-150 would have had a 5-speed behind it, or the 4-speed it would have had would have been completely different. So like I said, pretty small hiccup, all things considered, but I will look it up. I'll make sure that it at least looks correctly and that Bendix sits farther in that housing, so it should miss the flywheel. Like I said, I'll finish cleaning stuff up. I can put that Y pipe back on. It was easier to get the starter out with it off, and since it was only finger tight. But there's still some other odds and ends I need to keep working on. I can put the dash all completely back together since that's all wired and done. I'll clean up all the glass and, you know, clean up everything. I did, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but while I had it all apart, I took some red paint, a small paintbrush, and I retouched up the needles because the Speedo was faded to dang near white. So while it was all out and apart, why not dust it off all the gauges? I'll finish cleaning out the dirt out at the bottom so it reflects better, but keep chipping away. But I'll see you guys on the next one.